Thornbury way down to Craiglieth. That's about a 10-miler. If you followed my post on Facebook, that was the area that's really mountainous. That's the actual Blue Mountain ski resort area. So hopefully I'll be able to get some decent video walking along that trail today. That is the southbound Georgian Trail. So the weather today is much better compared to the tragedy that we had on Wednesday when I took the hike and got caught in the snow. It's beautiful. The temperature is way up. Hopefully it'll hold out. Skies are blue. The lighting is great today, so the photos should be really nice. So looks like a really great day. Alright, first little funny side note. As I was filming that scene, I did about 3 takes because I kept getting wind in the mic and all that stuff. The whole time I turned around right after I was done, there was a guy waiting behind me on a bike waiting to go by. Didn't say a word, so nice. I had to apologize profusely to him. Oh well. Alright, through that section, never hiked it before, honestly probably will never again. The bridge was really nice, and the overlook of the Beaver River is nice, but that's right at the beginning, and you can visit that anytime just by pulling into town. So this boundary here is where the trail crosses the 26. It's kind of tricky because it's a major highway, but this is where I was dropped off the first time and started just beyond on the other side of this point. This is nice. I'm looking forward to this because this gets really remote, goes deep into the woods. There's some really cool houses back there that are based kind of on Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. So hopefully I'll be able to get a decent shot or some video of those. And there's very, very deep old growth forest pockets back here, which are quite fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to it. Alright, so I can't really recommend the Thornbury section of this trip. And here's why. I have to film things out of sequence because I have to find areas that are, as you can hear, not too windy, which this is, that have adequate back structure so it's not all washed out. And that was really hard to do here. Like, I actually just finished the intro just a few seconds ago, even though I was more than halfway into this area. So this area is really urban, and it's really noisy. So the place where I started before, I think I'm just going to keep doing that from now on. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. Into the deep, deep bracken. The trail is what's left of the railway up here. So it goes pin straight, and you can literally see ahead of you down the path for miles. Really quite wild. to spot a walker a mile away. I am zoomed all the way in, so I'm sure the quality is horrible. I will now attempt to zoom out and show you how far away. You can see the black spot there, how far away he really is. Here we go. Yeah, he's a good mile out. You gotta love cedar forests. With the occasional birch. So I just stepped off the trail to gather some birch bark. Thought I'd line my pockets, take some home with me. Great fire starter. And this happened. Yep. Now I'm wet for the rest of the way. Should have looked before I leaped. Here's one of the Frank Lloyd Wright inspired, or at least it feels that way to me, homes that I was mentioning before. Really cool, got their own little private walkway right up to the trail. Kind of hard to tell, but we're getting closer to the west face of the Blue Mountains now. You can kind of see them getting higher there in the distance. There you go, that's a better view. You can see one of the peaks kind of rising up there in the background. Alright, nice little section of aspen forest, and you can definitely see the mountains now rising in the background. Alright, there we go. About to cross the Camperdown Road onto the next section of the trail, which takes me down to the left, which is actually going north, and then wraps around the front range of the mountains. Alright, first mistake. I said Camperdown Road, I meant Gray Road 40. Oh well, I'm not going back to refilm. Alright, I filmed this 4 times because I keep blowing what I want to say. So this is where I mentioned that the trail turns back north around the front range of the mountains. But this is where the topography changes. So the trail becomes different, it becomes open, it runs down next to Highway 26, which is kind of loud for a little while, but then you view back into the valley that's at the base of the front range of the Blue Mountains, and you get really, really nice views of the slopes. That's where all the ski resorts are. So, onward. Alright, so here's Camperdown Road. I got it wrong before, just letting you know that's where I am. Down there is Blue Mountain Road. There's the kilometer ticks on their side, so I'm at just before kilometer 19, and I've got to get still to kilometer 25. So, crossing Camperdown, which is more than halfway of this hike. So, you can see right here, roads are rising up into the mountains now. We're getting really close. You can't really see them from here because they're still behind some trees, but I'll get some video when I get a little bit closer. quick little update. Trail back there, going more north now, so we're almost at the base of the mountains. Should be any minute coming into view. Alright, here we go. It's been about half a kilometer since the last video at the turn, and we're coming to the first clearing. And there they are. That's the front range of the Blue Mountains as they come into Georgian Bay. So you ever wonder what happens to the Niagara Escarpment after it leaves Niagara Falls? Well, it heads all the way up here. We're about 200 kilometers north of Niagara Falls, and this is where the escarpment actually meets the Canadian Shield. So the escarpment gets pushed up even higher because it's sitting on the base of a Precambrian mountain range, ergo it being called the Blue Mountains. And it goes even farther from here. It goes behind me. If you're following it west, I'm going east, well, southeast. If you follow it west, it goes all the way up the Bruce Peninsula and up to Tobermory. So hopefully someday I'll be able to do a part of the Bruce Trail and get that on film. But for anyway, it's quite impressive down here. I don't know if it shows up that well being filmed, but up here, the mountains are, you know, about the size of the Alleghenies. You know, the decent Alleghenies, maybe not quite much bigger than the escarpment is done in Niagara Falls anyway. Alright, time for a little glamour shot. That's Square John Ski Resort behind me. Pretty soon now the mountains will show their eastern face and will retreat back south of me. So I'll have wrapped completely around the front of the mountains to the other side, and then we'll disappear in the distance. Well, this makes for a nice shot as well. I kind of got interrupted there at the end. I was saying that the mountains will then retreat southward in the distance and become the front range of the Niagara Escarpment going south. Alright, so there you can begin to see the eastern edge of this front ridge of the Blue Mountains. And although it looks like that's the end of the mountain, actually that switches to its own front range heading south, and that's where the Blue Mountains Ski Club is. Saw this grass blowing and it just reminded me, I haven't mentioned that these mountains actually do produce their own weather up here, and the wind rushing down the mountain is actually quite impressive at times. It rolls down and there's a good, you know, 10 degree temperature difference between the top of the mountain and the bottom of the mountain on some days. So it produces quite a strong wind at times and really kind of gets stuff moving. Getting back into some forested areas now. You can still hear Highway 26 over on my left, but the noise is definitely calming down. Fords Road crossing. We are definitely more than 3/4 of the way down the trail. Started way up there just before Thornbury, and now we're right there. 2 more intersections to where I have to be. So, mountains are definitely starting to veer southward at this point, noticeably. Down there, getting farther and farther away. And as we cross here, we're coming into the Craiglieth area, where the Heritage Depot is. This is where I parked my car this morning, so that's where I'm picking it up and heading back home. So, nice thing about this area is now it's going to get more and more wooded. It's going to move away from Highway 26 and get a lot quieter. So I'll get some more shots along the way. Wow, the winds are really screaming now. Oh, thank God it's warm. Little over the shoulder. Sorry about the bounciness. Just wanted to say, I don't know if you can really see it, but over there behind me, you can see the top of the ridge there. The mountains are now behind me. So I'm past the eastern face. I'm coming up on my second to last crossing. So I'm nearing the end. Left to me over here is Craiglieth Provincial Park, and I just had to mention that it's a really nice park. It's really long. It's a few kilometers long. It's right against the shore of Georgian Bay. At this point, it's actually Nottawasaga Bay. It's packed, been packed all summer long. No spots open. It's all RVs and tent sites, and it's always packed. The first time I've come down here, that place is empty. I guess the season is truly over. Oh well. Holy shit. Biker just nearly took me out. I was walking up here. I'll have to show you. I don't know if I get you in the frame. This thing is hanging right here. You can see it from the tree. Way up here, it's attached. So the wind was blowing really hard at that point, right? And it blew this guy way out in the trail. So he's here, swinging out in the trail. I walked over to this side of the trail. Literally, biker blew by me as I moved. Missed me by about a centimeter. Last trail crossing before I get to my destination. This is Arrowhead. Yeah, Arrowhead Road. And that'll get us to within about 1.5 kilometers of the depot and the end of the line. Got to quickly mention one of my favorite trees along the walk. One of the whitest and most bent birch trees I've ever seen. He's blowing out the highlights here. a half kilometer of my goal, which means I can stop on the trail and hit this. Pomegranate tea, here I come. Mission accomplished. Behind me here is the lovely Craiglieth Heritage Depot, which is a museum and also part of the Blue Mountains Public Library system. So I was allowed to park my car here this morning when she dropped me off at the other end. Now this museum is also the former railroad station of the railway to which the trail was built on. So I thought it was an apropos place to end this video.